following is a production of Cary TV, the Town of Cary's government access channel.
Good evening and welcome to the Operations Committee. We are joined by Mayor Harold Weinbrack. Councilmember Robinson and Jack Smith are unable, Councilmember Smith are unable to make it this evening, so thank you for standing in. Do you have any items to remove from the consent agenda?
No, I reviewed them and I'm fine with them.
Okay, and for those of you watching at home, on the consent agenda, we have the budget amendment request for traffic analysis reports, the Holloway Street and Madison Avenue utility and storm replacement, traffic calming project on Trappers Run Drive, and number 4 is the Annie Jones and Morrisville Greenway connection bid awards. With that, I believe we have the first item up for discussion, and it's the how do you say that? Discontinuation of dynamic message sign usage. And Mr. Jensen.
Good evening, Council. Just want to brief you on where we're at with our DMS program right now. We have 12 dynamic message signs located throughout the town of Cary. Most of those are, in fact, all of those are on commuter routes going into and out of the city. Our Public Works Department does maintain those units, and they've been having some extreme difficulty in maintaining those because the product vendor of those DMS units is no longer in business, so we no longer have the ability to get replacement parts or software support that runs the DMS unit itself. So currently we only have 4 of those 12 units that are operational at this point in time. We are recommending to Town Council tonight that we discontinue the DMS usage and that all the standard policies and procedures that go along with DMS be removed. And staff further recommends that Town Council authorize the conveyance of 1 or more of those DMS units to NCDOT if they would like to use it for their use along major routes. And that's, be glad to answer any questions you may have.
I did have one question from a citizen who's interested in the signs. What is our plan for once the signs are removed? You had mentioned that there were other municipalities that potentially have some?
Well, first, our first, I think, recommendation would be that DOT, if they wish to use some of those signs, that they would be conveyed to them at no cost. After that, then it would be our normal policy for surplus property that would go through our purchasing division, and they would dispose it at that time. Whether it's be, I'm not sure how they would do that, whether that's through selling it on the fair market value or just claim it as not usable or even saleable, and then that may be a process that they could ask other communities to, if they would like to have that. So,
okay.
I'm curious how DOT can use it. What software are they using, and we can't use it.
I think they're probably going to swap out the DMS board and the software altogether and
Okay.
to put a whole new unit, but they'll actually use the location itself is probably what they're planning to do.
Okay.
And of the 4 units, are there certain ones that they're interested in? You had mentioned.
Well, I
some
think their
others?
primary emphasis is the one on US 164. As with the Beltline project, reconstruction project coming on, I think they would like to use that strategic board to kind of help navigate traffic through detour zones and things of that nature. I think they have some interest on our boards on Highway 55 and on Highway 54 in town.
Appreciate that. I remember this was a very controversial subject over time, before I was on council, so I don't know if there's anything else that you'd like to add.
I mean, it's very unfortunate how it turned out. The intention was good, to basically give travel times between one point and another and be part of the fiber optic network and the whole traffic management system, and that was all part of the plan originally. Unfortunately, it didn't turn out that way.
Right.
And so it's, in my mind, good not to throw money after things that are going bad.
I
Just move on.
certainly agree. Would you agree
So
to move it on to
I agree with
consent?
staff's recommendation.
Okay, so we'll move this to consent for the next. Would that be on the next agenda?
I
for
believe it'll be
town
on the next
council?
council agenda.
Yes.
For me.
Okay, great, thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith?
Good afternoon. We're ready to begin the renovation of the James Jones House, which is the house located right across the street from the Cary Arts Center. And we're asking your approval of the low bidder tonight and some additional funding to meet the bid price. Bids were received back in January, and with Focus Design Builders being the low bidder at $250,299. We have asked the contractor and architect to do some value engineering to get it down to $225,000. Council approved $150,000 last April as part of our CDBG annual action plan. And working with the downtown manager and budget office, we have identified another $75,000 in rental revenue that we have received and some surplus funds in the downtown project. And so we would ask your approval of the low bidder and to transfer the funds to meet the budget.
Mr. Mayor, do you have a question?
I sure do, looking at the bids. I was just amazed that the low bidder is 12 weeks. That
Right.
sounds reasonable. 180 weeks was one of the bidders. Was that realistic?
I think that was an error on the part of the
Okay.
bidder,
Oh, okay.
but,
I thought it was maybe the zero might not be
yeah.
there.
Like you could build the Taj Mahal in 180
Right.
weeks.
we were more flabbergasted with the variations of the bid prices.
Yeah, that too, but the 180 weeks really
Yeah,
struck me
I
as
think that was an error.
unusual.
It's one guy.
Apparently, and he sleeps 24 hours a day. But anyway, I agree with staff's report and would agree to move forward.
I have one other question. Is this the same as the Jones Foy house, now the James Jones house? Did it get renamed?
The James Jones House is the official name. Ms. Foy was the last resident, but we have in the designation of the downtown historic district, all the houses are named, and in the designation it's named the James Foy House.
Okay, so for
I mean, the
those who have
James Jones
seen,
House, excuse me.
for those who have seen the Jones Foy house,
yeah.
this is the same house.
Yeah, it's the same house.
And there was a line item at the bottom about revenue rental. Where do all of those, are those coming from the other properties that we have downtown?
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, I think one of the concerns I had is that it came in much higher than staff originally expected. Would this surprise you?
Last April, when we were estimating it for the annual action plan, we were looking at bringing it up to a commercial standard. And since then, we've decided to bring it up to assembly use under the building code, which requires a lot more floor loading and some other stuff that wasn't in the original bid. So with those additions to bring it up to assembly, it raised the bid price.
Okay.
I think, too, if I may add, that helps prepare it for, a tenant and our ultimate objective, not only to preserve the house, but also to make it suitable for a variety of different uses that might go in there. Had we prepared the house or rehabbed it at a lower level, then anyone wanting to use it would have to do more work. And there's a balance between what we require from a tenant to fit up things versus what we're going to do. But we felt that was the most prudent thing to do to meet our objectives for downtown.
Okay, well, I agree with Mayor Weinbrecht, and we'll move this to consent.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda, oh, you get the next one as well.
Yes. The next item is requesting approval of the final contract for Phase 2 of the Cary Community Plan and requesting the remaining funding to complete that project. In your staff report, you'll see a status, well, let me back up a second. Last July, council authorized staff to proceed with Phase 2, and at that time we told you that it would cost about $909,000 over a 3-year period. Since then, we have proceeded. There's a status report of all the things that we've accomplished since then in the staff report. I'd like to highlight a couple. Council appointed a 35-member steering committee back on January 10th that represents every sector of Cary. We have a website that's hopefully will go live next week called www.imaginecary.org. And we have set a kickoff event called the Summit of the Future for May 2nd from 6 to 8:30. So those are the key things. We would also, since July, we have worked with the primary consulting team of Cary and Associates and identified a transportation consultant to do the comprehensive transportation plan part of the community plan. And we've also have a small contract with Randy Gross Development Economics to do some economic development work for us. And so and we're part of the original consulting team was also ACC Planning and Visioning from Columbus, Ohio, Mr. Jamie Green, who's doing the community outreach part of the effort. So with adding the additional consultants, we were able to keep the budget within what we estimated back in July, which is a good thing. So we would ask your approval tonight of the final scope of services and the budget request from general fund balance.
Great.
I'd be happy to answer any questions.
No questions. I think a lot of people might be surprised by the cost, but it's a plan, like you said, encompassing a whole lot.
For 3 years.
With a lot of different consultants, and it's a long process. So actually, the cost is actually reasonable, and it's just essential to our future to have this plan completed.
Again, one of the reasons we're doing this and doing it in this manner is I think over the long run it will save money, because we were doing each plan individually, and there's a lot of economies of scale we can accomplish by doing it this way. And so taking all the planning efforts you do every year, kind of rolling it into one, helps save the town money.
And I really like the information regarding the upcoming Summit for the Future at the Embassy Suites. I'll be excited to hear who this nationally recognized speaker is. I hope that people put it on their calendar. I think it'll be a great event.
We're
Thank
almost
you so much.
at point of contract with them, so we should be able to announce that soon. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much. And we'll move that item to the consent agenda as well. And then finally,
Good evening,
Ms.
Mayor.
Goodwin, nice to see
Councilmember.
you.
The staff report that I'm presenting is on the long-range water resource plan. We update most of our master plans about every 5 years, and we began working on this long-range plan about 2 years ago, taking a long view through 2060. And as the staff report summarizes, it includes recommendations in the plan for both long and short term. Most of the short term focus on water supply, water treatment, interbasin transfer, and best management practices. And specifically in the best management practices, part of the recommendation is to modify the Reclaim Water Policy 132, and specifically in that, the service area map to more closely align with our reclaimed water supply. And so the staff recommendation is for you to adopt the new revised Policy Statement 132, along with approving the long-range water resource plan. And I'd be happy to answer any questions.
I'll let you go again first.
First of all, that was an extensive report, and I've spent a lot of time reading it. I'm like, wow, how long did it take to create this report? But the only question I had was toward the end, staff recommends we do not continue with the turf buyback program, and I was wanting a little feedback there.
That is because the consultant analyzed all of our water conservation programs, and their analysis showed that looking at the totality of customers who've taken advantage of that, it just wasn't showing that to be cost effective for the dollars versus the amount of water saved. And that the marketplace and the patterns have changed, so many new homes are now going ahead and putting in warm season grasses now. So part of the reason for that incentive program was to try to have to influence that, and so it's appeared that it's kind of working. And there are also some other new technologies in the irrigation industry that we feel like we can better use those funds for, and we would be proposing those as we move forward and evaluate some other new programs.
That's good to hear, especially looking at those trends. We see the curve of usage and demand going like this, leveling off a little bit. So that's why I was concerned about turf buyback. So you answered my question.
Yes, thank you. That was my question, highlighted as well. I don't have any other questions.
I don't either.
It was actually the best use of layman's term to explain something that was, I think, when I first opened it up, was very difficult to start with. So thank you for the, I think it was 11-page staff report. It was actually really helpful for somebody like me coming into it from a base of knowledge that the rest of you already have. So thank you. With that, we'll move that last item to the consent agenda as well. We don't have anything else on our agenda for this evening, so with that, I will adjourn the operations meeting. Thank you.
This has been a production of Cary TV. Visit the Town of Cary's website at townofcary.org.